Hi, Monique Shaw here from Rewrite, and welcome to part 2 of my 4-part video series, which is a practical introduction to my 8-week group coaching program, Rewrite Your Career Story. All of these videos and parts interconnect, so if you haven't already, please go back and watch part 1, The Life Audit, which I released on the 3rd of August, and you should find it anywhere you found this one. So it's on my website, LinkedIn, Facebook, and also Instagram. Okay, so part 2, the brand review, is quite practical, hands-on part. It's an opportunity for you to do a bit of exploration and also to include other people in your rewrite story. So your brand review takes 3 modules. Module 1, identifying your current personal brand. Module 2, identifying your skills, and then distills that and everything you learn in part 1 as well into module 3, which is defining your new personal brand. That final module, defining your new personal brand, also includes some exercises around identifying your brand pillars, your personal brand pillars, and also your personal brand narrative or your personal brand story, or elevator pitch. It's essentially your elevator pitch. I have a background in brand and business development, and I try to bring in some of those practical ingredients that we use when branding products and services for creating your personal brand as well. So similarly to what I talk about when I say that you can't rewrite your career story unless you understand your current career story, it's the same with personal brand. So for you to understand how to define your new personal brand, you need to understand what your current one is. So in this video, we're going to focus on that first module, understanding your current personal brand. It includes a lot of other people in this exercise, right? Because your personal brand is about you, but it's actually for other people. Your personal brand doesn't exist without other people receiving your personal brand and understanding your personal brand. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what personal brand is, why it's important, why it's such an important part of my program, and also run you through the exercise that I do with my clients on understanding your current personal brand. I absolutely love personal brand. It is such a huge part of what I do. It is something that I write about and talk about a lot. I posted an article to my website and also to LinkedIn back in February about the power of personal brand at work. If you go to my Instagram page back in April, I talked about how personal brand had transformed my own career. I sell a course on personal brand specifically. It's also a really big part of this Rewrite Your Career Story course. I run personal brand training as part of a not-for-profit that I work for called I Can, You Can Too, who are fantastic. Look into them if you don't know of them already. And I also used to do workshops at my previous employer around personal brand. I'm really, really fanatical about it and its power. When I'm talking about personal brand, it's really important for me to underline that I'm talking very specifically about personal brand in the context of work. So we have reputations and roles that we play outside of work in our personal lives. I'm not talking about personal brand in that context. I have absolutely no desire to encourage people to consciously cultivate a personal brand with their loved ones, with their family and friends. If I was talking about something along those lines in a personal context, I'd be framing that more as boundaries. But that's for a different video and it's something entirely different. So what I'm talking about here is very specific to work, your personal brand in the workplace. Okay, so what is a personal brand? In a nutshell, your personal brand it's what you're famous for. It's what you're known for. It's what you're associated with. Every single one of us has a personal brand at work. You are all associated with, known for, famous for something or some things in the workplace. And that will really influence the types of opportunities you get. It's going to influence the sorts of things that people ask you to do, the kind of projects that you'll be working on. It's really, really fundamental to the kind of experience and trajectory you'll have in the workplace. So for example, if you think about your own workplace or your own business, you might have somebody who is, let me pull an example out of the air. So Martha's really has an amazing attention to detail. She's fastidious with detail. So you need something reviewed and you need to make sure that all of the errors are spotted and corrected before it goes to the client. You're going to go and ask Martha. Personal brand is that line that says, let's get Martha to look at that. She's the one that's going to spot any errors. Personal brand is the line that says, Ethan's the guy that's going to get the answers fast, problem solve this quickly, and make sure that we make deadline. Let's get him this submission and make sure that he gets it over the line. It can also work against you. So, oh, Joan loves birthday parties and Christmas. Let's get her to organise the Christmas Zoom party this year. So personal brand is what you are known for, good or bad. The power of personal brand, and the reason that I love it so much, is once you understand that and once you understand its power, you can take the guesswork out of it for people. You can make it really easy for them to answer why you, and you can make sure that that why you is the stuff that you want to be famous for. So it may be stuff that you want to be famous for because it's more aligned to your purpose, your values, etc. But quite frankly, it can also be the stuff that you want to be famous for because you want to accelerate your career, get promoted, win a new client, whatever it may be. There's no shame here. It might be a little bit of both. But personal brand will give you an advantage in the workplace, and it will help you to focus in on the things that you really want to be known for, that you really want people to come to you again and again, so you can shape a career that is the career and the career story that you want to have and you want to write. So grab a notebook, and I'm going to ask you 6 questions. And just to remind you, this is very much in the context of work, but as you're going through these questions, some answers might come up that don't immediately seem relevant to the workplace. They might be more relevant to you at home or with your friends. That's absolutely fine. Jot it down anyway. You never know what's going to come through that will be relevant for you and provide some useful information or insight. So, question 1, what am I famous for? Question 2, what makes me different? Question 3, what gets me really excited to get out of bed in the morning? Question 4, what do people come back to me for again and again and again? Question 5, what comes really easily to me that others seem to struggle with? And question 6, what 3 words would my colleagues, boss, peers, team use to describe me? When you've got your answers down, sit back and reflect on those responses. So is there any relationship between the responses? Is there a pattern emerging, some common threads running through them? Are there any links? So is what you're famous for and what gets you excited to get out of bed in the morning connected? Or are there any breaks? Maybe they're not connected. When you've sat back and reflected on all of your answers and spotted what those patterns are and what those links are and where the breaks may be, sit down and make some additional reflections on that. And then what I want you to do is take 5 of those 6 questions, so all of the questions with the exception of what makes me excited to get out of bed in the morning, and take those to a handful, 3, 4, 5, more or less, whatever you feel comfortable with. Take those to a handful of trusted colleagues, peers, and even some friends, and ask them to answer those questions on your behalf as well. As I said earlier, the personal brand aspect is very much about you, but it's about you and what you're conveying to the world. So understanding how other people are receiving your current personal brand is really, really significant and important information. So when you've got responses from a number of different sources, sit back down with all of those responses and do a read across. Start to look through, are there any patterns here? Are there any disconnects here? Is there anything significant about the kind of people that I've asked and what they know me for versus that person and what they know me for? And is there a relationship between what you understand you're famous for, what makes you different, etc., and what others receive that to be? And then sit back and reflect on them all again and see what insights come through. So that's it for this video. In the next video, which I'll be releasing on the 17th of August, which is the change, I'll be talking about mindset, accountability, limiting beliefs, your inner critic, and also ritual and habit forming, all of the different things that you need in order to rewrite your career story and make it stick. If you really enjoy the topic of personal brand, then I would encourage you to go back and check out my website or my Instagram page, because I do, as I say, talk about this all the time. So there's lots of content for you to access. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll speak to you soon.